This is a video by Richmond. Today we are working on a 1998 Chevy Prizm / Toyota Corolla. And what we're doing today is we are removing the front strut to replace a strut shield and bump stop underneath there. First thing we need to do is get it up in the air, remove the tire and wheel assembly, and put a jack stand underneath it. Now in this car right here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the strut and replace it. So what I've done is I've marked the relationship of the strut to the steering knuckle right here with some paint to get it back into the same alignment. Next thing we need to do is to remove this 14mm headed bolt that secures the brake hose to the strut right there. Next thing we need to do is to remove these two 19mm nuts that secure the strut to the steering knuckle. We're lucky on this job. You can see that the bolts are in very good condition. That's probably has to do with this being a Toyota. A lot of times some of these bolts are rusted. Look at that, they're in nice shape. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is to remove these three 12mm nuts that secure the top of the strut to the strut tower here.
I got it.
Last nut. That is that's the boot right there. Look at that thing. There ain't much left of it, is there?
What the hell?
Yeah. And here's our lovely strut. Look at that. Jeepers creepers. Here's our boot. Ain't much left of the bump stop up there. Okay, now, what do we got here? The coil sits into the seat on this rubber dampening pad, so you can't mess up there. Now the top, sometimes they will alter. So what we're going to do is we're going to, just to make sure, find the end of the coil right here, and we'll just mark it just to be on the safe side so we get everything back in on our top seat. Now we're going to break out our spring compressor here and compress that spring. We've got our spring compressors on 180 degrees on the coil, so we're ready to go. We got to reposition that. Alright, we have our spring all compressed now, And what you're looking for is you want all the pressure off that seat. See how there's no spring pressure on that seat? So now we can take the nut off the center shaft. Alright, we're ready to take our center nut off here, 19 millimeter. And now the top piece will come off. Now if you look at that seat right there, you can see that it has flats on it, and there's corresponding flats on the strut. So you got to line those up when you go back. There we go. Make sure we put it below the flats there. Alright, we're ready to reassemble. We've got a new piece on. We want to make sure we line up the flats to the top seat here. It's all lined up. Oops. That pushed down a little bit. I didn't like that. Okay, we're all set. Okay, now we can torque that nut to, what's it say, 34 foot-pounds on that top damper shaft nut. Alright, so we'll torque that now. And then after we torque that nut, we'll remove our spring compressors. If you want, you can pull the bump stop down and look in there. Make sure that you have the flats seated correctly on the strut shaft to the top seat, just to make sure. That's what I'm doing now. Okay, looks good. Now before you release your spring compressor, just make sure that that top seat is correct. If you didn't put a mark on the seat there to line it up, what you can do is move the top seat like this, and look at it. So you can see big gap right there. She's not sitting flush, so just just keep rotating it like that till boop, right there. Now we can remove our spring compressors. Okay, we've got our strut all in place, so now we'll torque our top nuts to 29 foot-pounds. Okay, looking good. All right, now we're going to line up our bottom bolts here. I'm using my knee for leverage. Alright. Try to get it back to where it was, tighten it up. Book says 203 on these nuts, but I don't believe that. That seems way tight to me. Alright, great. So now we'll just tighten those up and make sure we put our bracket for our hose there. Okay, now after we get all the 3 bolts we have to tighten there, put our wheel on, that's it. The job's all done. And that's all there is to replacing a front strut on your Toyota Corolla / Chevy Prizm.